Let's remember the spirit. Usually we remember what we're drawing. The spirit is always drawing, and we see the drawings and we remember the drawings. But now we want to remember the one who is drawing. Who is drawing each thought? Who is drawing the form of the spirit? Who's deciding how she's going to dress, what she's going to feel as she dresses up within the body as life itself? Let's remember the force. That is the one that gets to decide. She knows, she has the formula within her. The formula that based on everything that happened till today, including every detail, including every spirit, including every event and circumstance that we have experienced. And now, after everything that happened now, these words are coming in, and she decides, what does that mean? How is she going to react? How is she going to think the words that are being said? I want to focus in on that one, the one who gets to decide that. I want to put all my attention as best I can just on her. My imagination can't draw her. She is drawing my imagination. But my imagination can become aware of her existence. My imagination can draw things that will make it try to look back at who is forming it in this specific form. We are all the parts, we are all the forces, we are whatever we think, that's where we're focusing our attention and that's where we are manifesting our spirit. If I think hand, I'm in the hand. If I think leg, I'm in the leg. If I think eye, I'm in the eye. If I think spirit, I'm in the spirit. If I think any force, then my attention is there. My attention is there, then I'm it and it's me. We've lost access to the spirit. We have forgotten the spirit. Spirit is a force that's active in you. A very, very powerful force. We've enslaved the spirit instead of empowering her. And we are the ones that pay the price. We suffer. We get enslaved. All of us get enslaved. We think that we are one of the other forces. We are all of them. Just like we're hands and feet and hearts and brains. We're all of the forces that these organs can create. And we're also the force that gave rise, that created these forces. We, the one who is speaking, The one that created the body is speaking through my brain. I'm only aware of a little part of the process. But he's the one that's in charge of the whole process. I'm a little part of him. What I can know and think is just a tiny little piece, a tiny little spark of who I am really. Because I'm in a body, I'm not aware of myself as myself. I'm aware of my body and whatever it has picked up and realized, whatever it has learned. But that's not me. Who I am is much more ancient than that. Who I am is much more powerful than that. Who I am is the same one that you are. Not only do I come from the same place and have grown out of the same tree, but the one who is drawing for me is drawing for you. That's why these words are meaningful. Hayetzer yachad libam, hamevin elkom asem. The spirit that draws is one spirit in all. And therefore we affect each other's spirits. We don't affect each other, we affect the same spirit, and we feel it because we're all participating in the spirit. That's the world that we are really building. That's the world that's being developed. The world of the spirit, the world of our understanding of self. Not what we can purchase or possess, but what can possess us. Who is our owner? Who do we work for? What inside of us are we listening to? Which organs are overpowering the other organs in order to get their way? And so when we remember, we become. What do you mean we become? Weren't we till now? We were unconsciously, but when we're unconsciously, we can't affect it. We can't change it. When it's unconscious, it's like an animal doing its thing. It's not really given the power that it deserves. If we want to give our spirit power, we must remember her. If we don't remember her, she loses all her power. We remember the one that's drawing, not what's being drawn. Because what's being drawn, you're not taking with you. The one that's drawing, you're always taking with you, even when you leave the body. And so you want to surrender everything that's being drawn to the one who is drawing. Because what type of power do they have? What type of authority do they have other than to work for the one that's creating them? This is their entire purpose, their entire design. This is why they were created. If my body has organs, these organs were designed for a very specific reason, to serve me, the being that created them. This is why they are here, every single cell. This is the will. The will that created life wills it so. And so when we remember the Spirit, the angels remember their duties. The Spirit remembers that it belongs to a greater Spirit. And the angels remember their duties, each one, what it was designed to do. What is its real purpose? What is its real function? Each force within creates only in accordance with what's really best for the entire organism. And so as we remember, there are things inside of our organs that are going to change. There's confusion within the organs. There hasn't been a clear direction. There hasn't been a clear order of priority, what comes before what. If the spirit is not awake, for sure the organs are not doing their functions properly. If the spirit hasn't been empowered, then these organs are working for the wrong cause. There's no other possibility. They've lost their way. They're worshipping something or someone else that they've seen, they've heard, they've imagined, but they're not here serving life itself that was designed by the Creator. When the spirit is empowered, it means that we have the natural order of how life was designed to happen. Creator fills the spirit with life, the spirit fills the body with life, and the body gets its orders from the spirit. The spirit was designed by the Creator. This is the natural channel. If the drawings are worshipped, then the spirit loses power, and then we really don't know the truth anymore. The mind tries to create its own truth. And that's the most dangerous condition that the mind can create, when it thinks that it knows reality and it starts to direct the organs against their own nature. The mind is here to help the organs and to listen to them so that it can balance everyone together, so that the spirit can reside in peace. When the mind thinks that it's working for itself, this happens when we develop an ego, the mind thinks it's working for itself and it starts directing the organs rather than listening to them. It has preconceived notions of how the organs are supposed to behave, even though it doesn't know an organ. It doesn't know the first thing about organs. It's busy with some external measurement that says that this needs to happen now, and let the organs do whatever the external measurement is making them do. The organs are being destroyed. When we empower the spirit, the mind knows its place. The mind can't hurt the body when the spirit is present. The mind is ashamed of its former opinions about what it thought it knew and what it did based on that false knowledge. What it did to itself, what it did to others. The damage is undeniable when the spirit wakes up. When the spirit wakes up, it's like the light comes on, and then the mind sees, and it's ashamed. It really misunderstood. It really caused a lot of damage. But then the more the spirit becomes present, the more the organs get forgiven because they heal. Healing is the natural forgiveness that's inherent in nature. Nature is very forgiving. We just have to figure out how to stop hurting it. And so also the mind is forgiven. The mind was really trying to help. It was trying to save the body. But the mind is the body. There's someone else that owns this, not the mind. The mind is not the owner. The mind needs to serve the owner. The mind needs to surrender. He starts his surrender by simply becoming quiet. That proves that he understood. As long as he's still arguing something, he hasn't understood. When he is quiet, it means that he has realized that he has a master. His master is the one that's drawing with him. The one he is being used by. He belongs to someone. And he's been resisting. He's been trying to take charge of things he doesn't understand. And so that's why when we focus our attention on the Spirit, we are helping the mind surrender. We are showing the imagination, the real nature of how it works, what its real relationship to reality. Imagination works for reality. Imagination is not a space where reality will ever exist. Imagination is a different tool than perception. When the mind is quiet, we perceive. When the mind is drawing, we imagine. And so when we imagine, and in the beginning we're going to imagine either way, there's no option for us to stop imagining. So when we imagine, we're going to try to imagine the kindest possible imaginations for the Spirit, because we know at the end we're going to get to the Spirit, and the Spirit is going to say, hey, you hurt me with those thoughts, what were you doing? And so we're going to try, if we're already imagining, to steer the imagination towards healthy drawings that will help the body recover and heal the relationship with the Spirit. And what's the goal? That eventually we won't have to draw anything, because the Spirit will be present. We will feel alive enough that we won't have to continue running. We will be able to just be. The mind is afraid because it doesn't see its owner. It's looking for what to lean on. But it won't ever find what to lean on in any of its thoughts. Thoughts are its own creation. It's like the mouth trying to lean on the words that it is saying. They are of a different nature. The mouth cannot lean on the words. The words reside in the air. The mouth can lean on the body that it's a part of. The mind can lean on the body that it's a part of. That's being animated by a spirit. All of the organs lean on the Spirit. The Spirit leaves and the organs will fall to the ground. The Spirit is what the mind leans on when it's quiet. And that's the only place it can rest. If it's thinking, it's not resting. And then it's looking within the thought for a place to rest. It will never find within the thought a place to rest, because that's not the place where the mind rests. The mouth will never find words where it can rest, because it doesn't rest in words, it rests in silence. In order to become silent, it has to trust. The reason it doesn't trust is because it's been drawing for so long, it's forgotten the safety of home. And it thinks that it will outthink its fear. But thinking just brings on more fear, because it feels less and less safe. the more it thinks and thinks. It leaves the natural base and it goes into worlds of illusion. Whatever we think, it's only us thinking it, and it's only us thinking it in that moment. Never before and never after, and never anyone else ever thought that way. That's the nature of thought. Thought is our creation, it's our drawing, it's art, it's beautiful, if we know how to draw. Or it's ugly and it's cruel, and it destroys the world, if we don't know how to draw. So if we come back to the Spirit, we can gain access to our drawing board. If we have not remembered the Spirit, then we are a victim of our drawing board. The thoughts are running us over, but they're our own thoughts. These are mine. These are sparks of my own life, yeah, but if I'm not the Spirit, then who am I? The thoughts are one part. The impulse that's saying no is another part. The conflict continues between the organs. There's no Spirit. The presence of the Spirit unites the will of all the parts. The presence of the Spirit is going to unite the will of all of humanity. They're all parts of one big unit. It's the lack of Spirit, the lack of soul, that made humanity so fractured. Humanity represents the organs of the body. Different nations, different parts and pieces and functions of a human body. Conflict comes from a lack of Spirit. It's the same Spirit. It's the Spirit that's conflicted with itself, just like within the individual. The individual is a demonstration of the collective. So when we awaken the Spirit, the parts unite. When the parts unite, we gain access to something more real. It's not more real, it's the only real. Everything else wasn't real. Everything else was just us imagining. And then imagining on that, and then imagining on that, and then a new imagination and another imagination. Real is when we don't think and our spirit can see. Everything is quiet, all the organs are quiet and united as one, and then they know each other, they know together what they never knew as individual parts. Just like humanity will know when they will unite things they never knew when they were arguing and fighting and destroying each other's bodies and souls. The truth gets revealed when there's unity, when there's love, when there's connection. The truth cannot be revealed in anger, it cannot be revealed in conflict. This is why we are in exile. It's because we've learned conflict, we've forgotten love, and the truth couldn't reside in us. And so the Spirit is not visible. Spirit does not want to experience that. It's beneath its dignity. And so then there are those lower creatures that come to fill the gap. Wherever the Spirit, the Holy Spirit cannot reside, there are less Holy Spirits that reside. And those are not as careful with the organs as the Holy Spirit. Those are strangers. They don't seem to be working in their own domain. They seem to be working for someone else. And so they're much more careless. When the imagination is overpowering the spirit, then the less holy spirits become active. When the spirit remembers itself, they all have to run. They can't stand the light of the real spirit because the imagination becomes revealed as the liar that it was, the illusion creator. When the imagination is revealed, it surrenders to the higher power that's giving it life. It doesn't have from where to get life other than from the spirit, but when it gets life, it can dress up as if he is the owner, and then he takes away the power from the spirit. The spirit becomes afraid of its own drawings. The spirit can no longer control its own drawings. The imagination in the beginning comes with sweet stories to leave reality, but then the stories can get very bitter and we can lose control of the imagination, and it starts drawing things that are very unpleasant for us if we're not grounded in reality. The imagination as the owner is a terrible owner. He's a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And so let's remember the spirit, let's remember the real master. Let the imagination try to draw what it can't so that it realizes the truth. Let us feel the presence of our life force in all our organs, in all our limbs, in all our particles, not just in certain centers. All of it together is the intelligence that knows. Every part playing its role. If one part is missing, let's call the Balmum. Balmum means he doesn't have an accurate representation of reality. So the entire structure knows. If we can become conscious in all of it, we will know. If only one of the organs are conscious, then it has the wrong perspective of what's taking place, and it's causing damage. It doesn't understand the balance point of all these different components that together formulate life, that all need to be respected and directed accurately for life to flourish, for the intelligence to know itself, to be able to reveal the experience that was intended for this creature. The creature that we are, we can never be any other creature. It's the knowledge. There's a creature that we must know in order to respect our spirit, and yet we are busy with everything else. Even those who are supposedly doing religious work, for the most part, they're not serving the spirit. They just have another interpretation of what the external world is supposed to look like, and completely ignoring the internal reality that connects us to the source. And so there, once religion is outside of us, the imagination is master. And this time the imagination is the most brutal, because now he has God that's supposedly backing him. Not enough the imagination is in charge, now God is being imagined. And this is why we have the wars that we are seeing. It's because humans are imagining God in a way that he is very, very, very not. And based on that imagination that they are worshipping, they are ready to destroy and be destroyed. They're certainly not worshipping life, they're certainly not worshipping the spirit, but they don't know the spirit. Their imagination thinks that it has the backing of the creator of the universe itself. They somehow have managed to imagine exactly what he intended. And then the spirit is neglected. And then friction, frustration, that turns to anger, that turns to rage. And obviously, there is something outside that is to blame, because everything is happening outside. There is no one inside. There is no one that we can turn to and say, hey, is this reasonable? Is this the best way for you to use the life force that you were given by the divine? If we consult the spirit, we will know. If we consult the collective within us, we ourselves have a collective, we are a small world. If we can unite the collective within us, we will know. Because it's not a knowing of information, it's a knowing of experience. If you can experience all of your organs working in unison, you will know why you were created. You will no longer have any questions. You will no longer be upset for any price you had to pay in order to get to where you are. Because you will be in a position to not be upset. Would you choose to be upset about something when you can choose not to be upset and enjoy your existence? If you can be blissful, would you rather choose to be upset? So it's only because there's no access, because we don't have the spirit, that we have a conflict and we keep track and we keep score and we try to get even. All this is because we are not well. We can't feel blissful. We don't have access to our natural state. And so we find who to blame. We find how to run from ourselves and how to hide from ourselves and how to constantly look for something outside of ourselves that's maybe going to fill us. But no, inside is the one that can fill us. Only inside. Inside is the one not only that can fill us, that is purposely making us feel a lack because something that he likes is not yet being realized. Something that he wants, something that he was naturally designed for is missing. He wants to be him. He wants to know him. He wants to live him. He doesn't want to be imagination. He doesn't want to draw himself in a thought. That's too small to contain his appetite for reality. He wants to experience life, to understand, to taste. Why would someone want to create him? Why would someone want to make it exactly this way? What is the intention? The intention can only be experienced. No words are going to justify. Words cannot justify suffering. Suffering is much bigger than words. Suffering is at the core of what the spirit can manifest. Suffering cannot be described in words and cannot be justified in words, but suffering can be justified in experience. Everyone gets to a point in their experience where they say, wow, you were right. Why did I resist you in the first place? This is part of our maturing. This is part of our learning the nature of life. Some of us only say this after we leave the body. But some of them said it while they were still alive. Some of them said it while they were still very young. This is a sign of maturity, that we see the nature of what we've been given. We appreciate. Not because it is a certain way, not because it suits our imagination to see it the way that it is, but because this is something bigger than what we are thinking about it. This is something that when we are going to know what it is, it's going to transform our entire existence. This is something that's larger than life, the way that we imagine it. It is life. And life is bigger than space. Space was created for life. The spirit that we have access to, that we manifest from, constantly, we have full, complete, open access to manifest as we please. This spirit is the force that all bow to in all worlds. This is the deal he has with us, that we can dress him up as we please. He sticks to his deal until we're going to mature and know how to dress him up. But when we leave the body, we know that we had access to the most powerful, potent force in the universe, and we could have used it in any way, shape, or form we saw fit. There are unlimited possibilities. And this is the relationship with him we are forming here. As we dress him, this is the most intimate form of relationship we can have with him. And then we know who this him is. We know who we were playing with, who we were dressing, who lives in all this. It's the same spirit. The force that is behind all the spirits that manifest within the flesh. That force, that prince of the divine kingdom, that's the one we get to dress up as we see fit every moment. That's the access he gave us. Different levels of awareness. Not everyone has the same access. But everyone has access. Everyone can manifest in infinite directions. Yet there are other infinite worlds that they don't have. Everyone has their own dimensions that they can ride in. Everyone has their own form and shape that gives them a specific type of access. And yet everyone has access to the same spirit. Everyone rides within this big spirit. And so let's remember the one who is riding. The one who is riding includes many more worlds than what it can write. All the thoughts that we can have cannot contain the worlds upon worlds that together create the one that's writing our thoughts. It includes our entire history from the first moment that the thought came up to create the world. All that is part of the formula of what is going to be the next thought. It's serving all the wills that manifested from that first original will. From all those wills together came forth a will, and this will says these words. This is the nature of the Spirit. This is the one we're interacting with. And so let's remember deeply, with all our heart and with all our soul.